For those individual businesses that are active in this space, it's hugely profitable.
Asia City prides itself on trust and discretion, keeping the confidential information of its high-profile clients secret. Now, an anonymous source has leaked millions of internal documents from Asia City and 13 other offshore providers to media around the world through the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists.
It's interesting that we're seeing somebody who no one's ever heard of. You're talking about Graham Briggs, an accountant, somebody who's gone to Singapore, built a business, and now he's at the centre of what will be, I think, a political storm around the world.
Graham Briggs is a 75-year-old grandfather with a taste for the finer things in life. He owns a multi-million-dollar mansion on a vineyard in the Mornington Peninsula.
Graham lives in Victoria. He collects art. He likes fine wine, particularly Italian wine. He also collects Japanese fountain pens. So he's somebody with expensive tastes, but he also mixes with people from all over the world, very wealthy, important clients, but also some people who are very high public figures.
The leak reveals Graham Briggs amassed a $62 million fortune that includes more than $10 million in real estate, a $4 million rare pen collection, and $400,000 worth of fine wine. Like the fortunes of those he's managed, much of Graham Briggs's wealth is held through a complex offshore company and trust structure.
One of the trends that's emerging in the documents in the Pandora Papers is the fact that this offshore world lobbies behind the scenes. It lobbies governments to allow the offshore world to take place. So Graham was particularly involved in turning Samoa into a tax haven.
The island nation of Samoa is a tiny speck in the ocean halfway between New Zealand and Hawaii. Graham Briggs was one of the first to realise Samoa's potential over 2 decades ago. He spruiked himself as an expert consultant to the government on offshore finance. He set up an Asia City office in the nation's capital, just down the road from the regulator.
It's a tax haven, which means it doesn't impose tax on a lot of income earned by people in that jurisdiction. And it was very popular for Australians because before we had a regime which taxed people on their foreign income if earned through a foreign entity. So if I put a foreign company in Samoa and that foreign company earned income outside Samoa, it wasn't taxed in Samoa and it wasn't taxed in Australia. Hence the benefit of having a tax haven in the middle.
For those who consider these sorts of arrangements, they're not clever or sexy or harmless. I think the victims when people don't pay tax is everyday Australians, the millions of taxpayers who do the right thing, who declare their income, pay their employees and have fair competition against other business.
The leaked documents show Asia City kept a confidential list of its highest risk clients, known as PEPs.
So a PEP is an acronym for politically exposed persons, and it's referring to people who held senior government positions. They may be politicians, they may be heads of state-owned enterprises or heads of government departments, and they may be foreign or domestic. The reason they are singled out and considered high risk is because people who are in those positions have, in the past, availed themselves of the opportunity to commit corruption offences.
The documents reveal hundreds of millions of dollars of Asia City's clients' money has been ploughed into the booming Sydney property market. 2 luxury apartments in this city tower were purchased by a Sri Lankan, Thirukumar Nadesan, whose wife is a member of the country's ruling Rajapaksa family. He's currently facing corruption allegations. The ownership of the apartments was hidden using a shell company registered in Samoa and managed by Asia City.
Australia is seen as an easy place to park your money if you're a criminal, if you're corrupt, if you want to launder money. More Australians out there, more battlers who are trying to buy their first home are going to be competing in an increasingly unaffordable market against potential billionaires or tycoons in foreign countries, some of them involved in corruption.
In another secretive offshore setup managed by Asia City, a Singaporean company called Bright Ruby Resources spent nearly $300 million on 2 office towers in Sydney's CBD and bought Sydney's iconic Hilton Hotel in 2015 for $442 million. Documents in the leak reveal the 6 layers of companies and trusts between Bright Ruby and its ultimate owner, Chinese steel billionaire Du Shuanghua, one of Asia City's highest risk clients.
He really became quite famous in 2008 when he became the 2nd richest man in China according to the Hurun list, which is kind of similar to our AFR rich list. In fact, there was a bit of a story about, he fought off to become the richest man in China. He actually, I think, persuaded the editor to change that because in China it's always not a great idea to become the richest billionaire because a lot of things tend to happen to them after they top the rich list.
Controversy has dogged Du Shuanghua since he admitted to a closed court in China in 2010 that he'd bribed a Rio Tinto executive millions of dollars.
He admitted to paying one of Rio Tinto employees about $9 million in US dollars as a bribe to secure some iron ore.
Were you surprised when he admitted to paying bribes but then wasn't prosecuted?
In a way, I think it kind of, you can almost see it as in one of his American legal dramas. He agreed to become key witness in a way that he probably was granted immunity from the prosecution in a particular case.
4 Rio Tinto employees, including Australian Stern Hu, was sentenced to years in prison over the scandal. Du went unpunished and went on to make billions. The leaked documents show Du Shuanghua's history of bribery was recorded in Asia City's files, along with his political connections to the Chinese Communist Party.
That makes him a politically exposed person by definition, by the anti-money laundering standards. I'm not surprised that someone like Mr. Du can buy the Hilton Hotel through a structure that perhaps hides the fact that he's behind it.